What's up, guys? Welcome back to GoldClassGaming. Today I'm back with my ABC deck profile from the Team YCS in Las Vegas last weekend. I know on my last ABC deck profile I said this would be the last Master Rule 4 ABC deck. Turns out I lied. I was incorrect. The format changed so much that when I built a deck to play at the YCS, I really had to kind of change things around, really kind of theory for the new deck, for the new meta and how everyone was going to be playing that meta. So I made some changes mostly to my main and side, but also some of my extra deck to add some new combos to the deck that have been theoried with me and my team, as well make room for all the new techs and hand traps I need to counter these new decks that are running around the meta like Rocket and Invoke Shaddoll and Spirals. Without further ado, we're gonna hop right into this deck profile. So we're gonna start it off with 2 copies of A Assault Core. I know I'm playing 2A for the first time in a long time. Then you have 3B and 2C. Now I'm playing, obviously, I keep saying how much I advocate for playing 3-3-3 as opposed to the 2-3-2 ratio, but I just needed, at some point in testing, I just needed 2 more slots just for a bit more room to add a few extra cards into my deck, and cutting the A and the C were the most obvious candidates to do so, because I didn't want to slim on hand traps, I didn't want to slim on extenders, that kind of stuff. I didn't want to slim on protection and such. The A and the C were the 2 obvious contenders for being cut down to 2 each to make room for a couple extra tech cards. Obviously, we have our 1 copy of Heavy Mech Support Armor to back up our Union package. This is a go first package, our deck. I didn't want to go second in this meta because reality is going second versus Spiral. They have the Apollosa, they have the Trigate and the Sleeper. And obviously with Resort, you can't target those Spiral cards, and with Sleeper, and you can't target or destroy Sleeper, so there's some issues there going second with that. Going second versus Invoke Shaddoll, obviously they have the Caligo window, so you only had you had the 1 effect, the 1 summon, and the 1 attack per turn, and I just couldn't or just one monster effect, and I just wasn't able to out that board with just one of those, because the reality is I needed to open like a couple cards to resolve before I could get that going. Like for example, with only 1 special summon, I wouldn't be able to summon Vishita and link into Monk of the Tenyi. So it really just relied on opening evenly or bust, and I wasn't really a fan of that. And then obviously versus Rocket, it's just more negates. I didn't want to go second in a meta where the top 3 decks are just locking you down or just having tons of disruption against you. But onto our extenders, we have our 3 copies of our Symphonic Warrior guitar and our 1 copy of Symphonic Warrior mics. The Symphonic package is so crucial at this point. Obviously, you need it for your Buster Griffin combo, as well as for your combo with River Stormer. If you guys don't know about either of those combos, I suggest checking out my combo video from earlier in the year. That goes over all the relevant ABC combos, except for a handful that I theoried afterwards. But this card is just it is your best extender, and you always want to be playing it. Then you have 3 copies of Galaxy Soldier, obviously to help you make Cyber Dragon Infinity, to go into that Soul Flare combo. Soldier was actually, the Infinity combo was actually really good this event for me. Like obviously both Griffin and Infinity were both great individually, but it was just something else I added to the Infinity combo that really helped push it over the edge as huge advantage for me throughout the entire event. Then you have 3 copies of Solar Windjammer. This is to help, obviously the free machine extender is great, but also it helps play off of the mics and the guitar to get your River Stormer combo going. So you want to max out on 3 of these just to make sure you open that River Stormer combo as often as possible. Also, who doesn't like a Junk Ford for your deck? Then for some new cards we have 3 copies of Scrap Recycler and the 1 copy of Scrap Golem. I was borrowing Scrap Golem this weekend, so I don't actually own one. I apologize. I'm getting one in the mail, but yeah. So this is the new cards that I had been testing for a long time, and I finally put into action at this event. There's some really cool combos with Scrap Recycler, but more importantly, this is the card that you can search. Like opening Scrap Recycler is good because Scrap Recycler is a starter card. This card can get you to Buster, but it's an Earth Machine, meaning it's searchable off of Infinite Track River Stormer, which is remember previously we were searching Planet Pathfinder, but Planet Pathfinder, obviously it was a brick to draw by itself, as well as it lost to also in a format where everyone was playing Droll. being drolled on your Pathfinder was very, very rough. Because like if you were to search the Pathfinder off Riverstormer and then they drolled you, you then couldn't search the hanger or resolve any of that. While Scrap Recycler can play under droll, since with the Riverstormer combo, Recycler is the only card you're ever actually adding to your hand. So if they droll you after Riverstormer, it's totally fine. You can still combo just fine. And as well as opening it, it's great. Then moving on, we have one copy of Supreme King Dragon Darkworm and Supreme King Gate 0. These are here because I needed consistency to work with Scrap Recycler. So obviously the Scrap Recycler combo pretty much works the same way it did in Orchest or other scrap decks. You make the Wyvern, and then the Wyvern will revive the Recycler, pop Recycler, and then special Golem out of your deck. Except then after you pop Golem, or after you summon Golem, you need to pop a card in the field. And you also need an extender to link off with your original Recycler. So originally this was kind of a 3-card combo because you needed the Recycler, an extender, and then a card, like a spell card you could set in your back row to then pop with Wyvern. So it was a little inconsistent, and you needed like a ton of extenders for it. So I figured that the Darkroom engine actually worked really well with the Recycler because just that one Dragon Shrine, it gave you the Darkworm, which was your extender. And then Darkworm would add your Gate 0, which you could put in your scale to then pop with your Wyvern. So it turned that like 3-card combo into a 2-card combo, which helped get that play going. It helped to just condense that consistency a little bit. Also for reference, in the Infinitrack combo, you can link off Scrap Recycler with the Riverstormer, and then Wyvern can pop the Symphonic Warrior guitar in your scales. And then for our last monster is 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. This is the only hand trap I am playing. I am maining in this deck. Ash is just kind of subpar this format currently. Spiral and Invoked, Spiral and also Invoke should all both very much suffer under the effects of Droll, especially if they're trying to search off of Magical Meltdown. If they can search Alistair and then you can Droll them, if they don't have the invocation in their hand, that's gonna slow them down quite a bit. But also for Spiral is just really the only impactful hand trap. I was originally playing Droll and Impermanence, but once again, I just needed more space for extenders and tech cards, so Impermanence just had to go. Then off to our spells, we have 3 copies of Uni Hanger, backed up by our 1 copy of Terraforming. This is standard. I hope nobody ever asks me why I'm playing 4 copies of Uni Hanger. This is just the standard ratio. It's really what you should run. I was testing set rotation for a while. Once again, set rotation just took up like 2 or 3 spots in my deck, and I just did not want to commit that many spots to a set rotation. I could be using it to play other cards that were more impactful. Next up, you have 3 copies of Cup of the Grave. Obviously, this is just here to help your combos, finish, provide some protection from cards like Droll and Lockbird and Ash Blossom. Mostly Droll and Lockbird, and occasionally a Ghost Ogre. I think I used them once, and I think Veiler once too. But also, this is just good to be using defensively. But also, if you don't use it turn 1, it can be used offensively, and it's good to have with cards like Spiral Master Plan and such, because it can prevent them from using the effects of it as well as searching their resort and all that stuff. Or it just helps you. It can just really help you play offensively, especially with in the Invoke Shaddoll and Spiral matchup. Then you have 2 copies of Dragon Shrine and 1 copy of Foolish Burial. I thought this ratio was better than just 3 Dragon Shrine, because obviously Foolish Burial can still send your Darkworm, so it works just like a 3rd copy of Dragon Shrine, except it also lets me send ABC pieces, or mostly ABC pieces if the need arises for me to just foolish my last piece. Foolish Burial could do that, whereas a 3rd copy of Dragon Shrine could not do that. Then for our 1 of spells, we have 1 copy of Monster Reborn. It's Monster Reborn. The card's just good. 1 copy of Magnet Reverse. This is a card that I haven't played in the deck for a long time, but it's actually really good. Being able to just quick play Monster Reborn, a Dragon Buster, or a Cyber Dragon Infinity is just so powerful. The number of times people would bait my I'd have like a Buster Griffin board, and then they would let's say Lightning Shore me, and I would just have to and I would just tag out the whole board, or I'll tag out Buster and then have the whole board destroyed. I'd get the effects of all my pieces, and then I'd be able to use Magnet Reverse to revive my Buster, and that was enough to kind of keep me going for a while. And then for our last we also have Pot of Avarice. This card's so good, especially in the grind game, which a lot of times decks this deck goes into the grind game, especially versus Spiral, and Rockets, this deck can really versus Invoke Shaddoll. Once you kind of break their board, it's kind of just a straight plow from there just to win the game. But versus like Rocket and Spiral, I more often than not would have to grind against them. And drawing Pot of Avarice was just great because it meant I could just like shuffle all three of my busters back into my deck, as well as just some other useful cards. Some other useful monsters. Maybe I could shuffle like some Drolls back into my deck and try and draw those to stop the Spiral player, or shuffle some pieces back into my deck, or shuffle the heavy mech support armor back into my deck, and just drawing 2 cards. But the most important part was putting 3 busters back in my extra deck, because it just let me just grind twice as long against them. It just doubled. It made drawing Pot of Avarice was almost a guaranteed win in the grind game, because most decks just can't survive grind. Most decks don't have the gas and the resources to outgrind ABC Dragon Buster for like 6 or 7 turns. They just can't do it. So Avarice is just a huge game winner for me. I really like it. That's it for my main deck. It is 40 cards. It'll almost always be 40 cards, so you want to maximize your chance of seeing Hanger. Now we're gonna head off to my extra deck. Starting off the extra deck, as always, we have our 3 copies of ABC Dragon Buster. It's Dragon Buster, man. You gotta be playing 3 of that. Truly, this card's so good. Especially with cards that have protection from like being destroyed, but Dragon Buster can just out that. Like for example, El Shaddai Winda cannot be destroyed by card effects, but Dragon Buster banishes, so it's very useful against that. So it's just it's just great to have, and also the card's insane in general. I love Dragon Buster, that's why I play it. Next up, you have our Cyber Dragon Nova and our Cyber Dragon Infinity. So, it's against standard package for our Infinity plays. Infinity is really good. It was actually really good all weekend. Just the hard negation was really useful to have throughout, most combos. Like, Spiral struggles quite a bit versus Nightmare Griffin, so Griffin was good there. But versus Invoke Shaddoll, then really Nightmare Griffin is not a huge issue for them. So Cyber Dragon Infinity was really where it was at. Being able to use the Infinity on the cross sheep was really big. So, they would link off their Invoke Caliga for cross sheep, and then summon El Shaddai Winda to win a cross sheep zone, which then would trigger cross sheep's effect to revive the level 4 Caliga. But obviously using the Infinity on the cross sheep would negate and destroy it, and then they wouldn't bring back their Caliga. And so then they'd be passing turn with just the El Shaddai Winda into a board of Buster and Infinity, and next turn that was just a breeze. Because if I hadn't used Buster's Banish yet, I can banish the Winda right then. If not, I can absorb it with Infinity next turn. It's just such Infinity was the MVP versus Invoke Shaddoll. Then for our other Xyz monster, we have the Infinite Track River Stormer. This card is incredible. I love it. I'm so glad me and my friends figured out this combo. It makes this deck so much more consistent, and I would not think of building a Go First ABC deck without it going forward. Then off to our Link 4s, we have Borrelsword Dragon, obviously, to help close out our games, because this card is just good at closing games. Our Nightmare Griffin, clearly. Standard package for ABC decks at this point. You should expect to be seeing this. Same goes for this Decode Talker. You need a Link 3 for your Buster Griffin combo, and I just prefer Decode Talker over a card like Nightmare Unicorn, because you need a generic Link 3 that can be made at any and all times. Obviously, I'm not playing any normal monsters in my deck, so the fact that Decode requires effect monsters is irrelevant, while Nightmare Griffin requires 2 monsters of the same. So during the Griffin combo, you always just make the Link 3 with like a Link 2 Nightmare and a piece, but sometimes you have to make a Link 3 outside of the combo, and sometimes you have to do that with 2 ABC pieces that have the same name. So it means that making a unicorn was just not possible. So that's why I personally prefer Decode Talker. And for our last Link 3, we have Curious the Lightsworn Dominion. This is for our Scrap Recycler combo. I'll just explain that right now just quickly. So obviously, if we have the Scrap Recycler, then we have, let's say we have our Extender and our card to pop. You scrap mills your A, link up with your Extender for Wyvern, summon back Scrap, pop Scrap, summon Golem, pop the card in your scale. Golem revive Scrap will send B, and then since Wyvern, Golem, and Recycler are all Earth but different types, link them into Curious, and then Curious will mill your C. And then boom, there's your ABC Dragon Buster from that combo, and that's how you get there from the River Stormer and from the just hard drawing recycler. So it was very useful to have, just help get that combo going. Also, hey, when they would pop it, I get to add a spell back to my hand, so it's just neato. It's just fun to use this card to add back like a Monster Reborn or something, or a Call by the Grave, or whatever. I think once I used it to add back Union Hanger, and it won me the game. But most often I was just adding back. More often than not, I didn't add anything back. But actually, no, most often than not, I added back Dragon Shrine, since I had used that with the Golem before, or the Scrap Circuit before. And for our Link 2s, we have our Galaxy Eye Soul Flare Dragon, obviously part of our Infinity combo, but I'll talk a little more about him in particular when I'm in the side deck. I'm showing a certain tech card I'm playing. Any of our standard Nightmare package of Phoenix and Cerberus. Good to just have some back row and monster removal just in your extra deck, waiting to be made to pop stuff. Really good to just use to just pop a pesky back row or a monster, etc. I mean, like it just helped a lot. Like either obviously you need a Link 2 for your combo with Griffin, so you have to play the Phoenix, and that's like the better one. I just prefer Cerberus. I like playing Cerberus because I feel like it's just good to have that in my actor deck should I need it. As I feel like every time I don't play Cerberus, I then just go, wow, I really wish I had Cerberus at some point. Then you have our Platinum Gadget, obviously part of our combos a lot, and should be very, very self-explanatory. And then for our last card in the extra deck, it is one copy of Scrap Wyvern. I'm borrowing that too. I literally don't have a Scrap Golem or a Scrap Wyvern. It was incredible. Luckily, I have friends who did have these cards and were able to let me borrow them. So obviously, Scrap Wyvern is just there for your Scrap combo. Then I'm going to head off to my side deck. All right. So for my side deck, I really just built the side deck to just destroy Spiral and just destroy Spiral, Invoke Shaddoll, and Rockets. I wasn't that scared about Rockets because like if I resolved combo going first against most of these decks, I won. So it was mostly just cards to help me go second against these decks. So obviously you can't have a card to help you go second against combo decks without starting off with 3 copies of Dark Ruler no more. This card is great. None of these decks have any kind of back row negation, or at least back row form negation, like a negate trap with all monsters. Like the Boral Savage or the Heavenly, the Trigate or the Apollosa. Just activating this card just completely, just cuts their entire field dry. You stop the Trigate, stop the Apollosis, stop the Sleeper, stop the Caligus, the Winda, etc. Just hitting this going second was great because it basically meant I just like use this, negate their entire field, and then combo for free with 5 cards in my hand. It was just very, very useful, very, very impactful. Loved it the entire event. Next, I have 2 copies of Twin Twisters. This is here for those occasional back row decks. I don't play many, but I did side in twins a few times against like Ultrageist. I think I sided him versus Geist, and it was very useful there. But it's just there to help me get some back row removal. It also goes hand in hand with this next card. 2 copies of Lightning Storm. Borrowing these 2 because they're like $100 per copy, and I wasn't gonna buy Lightning Storms. This card is absolutely incredible. Legitimately, it's like playing two more copies of Evenly Matched in your deck, because again, versus backer decks, just side in these 4 along with Evenly Matched, and then if you just draw any of them, you kind of win. Versus combo decks, you really just Dark Ruler them and then Lightning Storm them or evenly them. It was legitimately just absolutely phenomenal. The number of times I went second in like a game 2 versus Spirals, or and I would side in the Dark Rulers and my Evenlies and Lightning Storms, and I would just, my turn would happen, I would Dark Ruler them, and then just activate Lightning Storm, you just wipe their entire field. Legitimately just a blowout versus these guys. Insta scoop was what happened. Then you have 3 copies of Evenly Matched. I've been talking about it. Obviously, I'm playing it. It is the king of go second cards, and playing this with Dark Ruler and Lightning Storm and Twister was just absolutely incredible. This was my package for going second against absolutely anything. This is just what I did. The last 5 cards in my deck are designed a little more for going first. Obviously, going first versus Spiral and Rockets, I would just do standard combo on them. Because both those decks just lose to Nightmare Griffin. But versus Invoke Shaddoll, obviously you wanted to have the Infinity. But occasionally, sometimes you just occasionally Griffin was just not all that impactful, and occasionally sometimes if they like hard opened a lot of stuff, they could play through the infinity. So I figured I would side in, for going first, 3 copies of D Barrier, because you flip D Barrier and you call fusions, and their turn stops right there. They cannot play through a D Barrier deck that calls fusions. This card is basically designed, I played this specifically for Invoke Shaddoll. Other time, I decided to side of then going first versus Luna Light, and I just called Xyz. That worked too. That's not the kind just here for Luna Light and Invoke Shaddoll. That was the plan. Then the last 2 cards in my side deck is where things get really, really spicy. To have 2 copies of Tachyon Transmigration. If you don't know what this card does, it's a counter trap card. If you control a Galaxy Eyes monster, you negate all of your opponent's monster, spell, and trap effects that have activated before this card in the chain. And then you negate them and then shuffle them back into the deck. Meaning it doesn't target, and it doesn't destroy, and it doesn't have a life point cost, and it can be a total blowout, which is like everything I needed it to be, because I wanted to be able to have it work against spirals where I couldn't destroy Sleeper. I wanted to have it be a spell speed 3 to where Trigate couldn't negate it, or Borderless Savage Dragon. I wanted it to just be able to be unnegatable and to be able to dodge destruction or dodge protections. And since most things have protection, the only protection things really had was protection against destruction. Shuffling back into the deck was just very useful to have, as well as being a counter trap was great. Now, obviously, you ask, well, it requires a Galaxy Eyes monster to play. So that's what I was talking about with the Infinity combo, because you should be playing Galaxy Eyes Soul Flare Dragon in your extra deck, and that is a Galaxy Eyes monster. And the end board for your Buster Infinity combo is Buster Infinity and Soul Flare Dragon. So if you happen to just so I would side this in game 3 going first versus basically anything, because it was always good. Because either it negated just one thing, or it formed a whole, or it just negated the whole chain, and it was an absolute blowout. I was going first, and then I'll just draw my Infinity combo, and I'll just happen to draw this along with it. I'll just do my combo and then set this card. Obviously, in the first 2 duels, the cards I set in my back row were very unimpactful, so my opponent had become a little complacent towards what my back row was. So whenever they used like Nightmare Phoenix or like Spiral Super Agent, they would just pop my Uni Hanger instead, because they were just like, okay, that's the card I have to watch out for. And then I let them assemble their full board, and I'll just, so in Spiral specifically, I'll let them assemble their full board, and then I would just bait them into a long chain link, and then flip Transmigration. So an example of what I did to somebody is, they had their full board of Trigate, Apollosa, Sleeper, and I had Buster Infinity, and then this card. I started off by using Buster's effect to attempt to banish Spiral Resort. Sorry, I attempted to banish Apollosa. And he chained Apollosa to negate. And then I chained Buster's effect to tag out, and then he chained Trigate Wizard's effect to negate Buster. And I chained the effect of Infinity to negate Trigate, and then he chained Spiral Sleeper to attempts to pop Infinity and Galaxy Soul Flare Dragon. And then at that point, I just flipped Transmigration, in which case this card negated and shuffled Spiral Sleeper, Trigate Wizard, and Apollosa, which then caused, Buster to resolve properly, and then he had absolutely just no field left. Like, he had nothing left. He had a Spiral Super, he had a Spiral Double Helix, a Nightmare Phoenix, and like a Spiral Resort, and like no cards in hand. So he just had no plays left, and then he passes to me, and I just make a Borderless Dragon with Buster Infinity, absorb the, I banish Resort, absorb the Helix, and then just attack for game. This is my spicy tech of the weekend, and it was absolutely incredible for me. Like, obviously, I didn't side it in every game, sometimes I just didn't see it, but I sided in most game 3s. But when I saw it, it was very, very impactful for me. So I had a great time playing this build, and this will probably be my last ABC build until Dual Overload comes out. Because if Union Carrier comes out in that, obviously I'll make an ABC deck with Union Carrier, and then once Master Rule 5 and Eternity Code and all that stuff come out, we'll make a full MR5 full support ABC deck profile, which will be absolutely insane. But if you guys like this video, sure to drop a like. If you guys have any suggestions or questions about my deck or any deck profiles you want to see in the future, leave that in a comment down below. If you guys enjoy my content, be sure to hit that subscribe button to see more of it. And I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.